Hey guys, my name is Ryan from Starcastic Remarks. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today in this video, we're going to talk about the NHL Discover Central Division, and we're going to talk about the predictions for this division and where I think each team is going to end up at the end of this season. Hey guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us and look for us for more daily hockey content from this channel. So, for the Central Division, here are the teams that are going to be in that division. So, you got the Hurricanes, the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, the Stars, the Red Wings, the Panthers, the Predators, and finally the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so looking at number 8. So, at number 8, I've got the Detroit Red Wings. So I feel like that's a really obvious pick for just about everybody who would make a prediction for the Central Division. The Red Wings just have a long way to go. They have a lot of great young players who are coming up and everything. And, with Steve Yzerman at the helm, it's still going to take a while. But if you look at the Stanley Cup champions, Steve Yzerman is very much responsible for developing that team, for drafting the players that are on that team, so on and so forth. So it's going to be a while before they're relevant, but I'm really excited for the Red Wings' future. But right now, I've got them at number 8. So at number 7, I've got the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, honestly, I might have put the Chicago Blackhawks at number 6, but there's just way too many questions about what's going on with their team. And with the recent injuries and questions they've got going on with Kirby Dach and Jonathan Toews, that really doesn't help. I don't know if any of y'all saw the picture of Kirby Dach's wrist on Twitter. It looked absolutely disgusting, and he's pretty much out for a good portion of the season, if not all of it. And then, Jonathan Toews, it seems like he's out of the season for good as well. We'll see. And then when you look at their blue line, you got Duncan Keith, and that's great and everything, but he's over the hill at this point in terms of hockey standards. And also, I think their biggest question is just their goaltending. I understand that they've got 3, good young goaltenders, but I don't know if letting Corey Crawford go was necessarily the best thing for that. So we're going to have to take a look and see. But they've got Lankinen, they've got Delia, and they've got Malcolm Subban. So we'll see which one of those 3 goaltenders kind of comes out of camp and takes the reins for the Chicago Blackhawks. So at number 6, I kind of went back and forth on this a little bit, but I put the Panthers. And here's the reason being. The Panthers seemed like on paper that they had an absolute great team last year. With Huberdeau and Barkov, and they had Hoffman and Dadonov, and they had all these great scorers. Their blue line looked really good. And then it looked like when they signed Sergei Bobrovsky, that Sergei Bobrovsky was going to be like that last piece of the puzzle that really kind of pushed this team to make them a playoff contender, or at the very least to make the playoffs, but not a cup contender, but at least to make them make the playoffs. But it just seems like that even if they have a good team on paper, they just find some way to lose. I don't know how they do it, but they haven't had success since like the mid-90s. It's been 25 years, and that's why there's the joke about, the Panthers attendance and everything. But I've got the Panthers at 6 just because, I can't put them any higher than 6, because at number 5, I've actually got the Nashville Predators. I think they're going to continue their decline from their conference final, or the Stanley Cup final, a couple years ago. And they've kind of slowly, steadily made their way down. And there have just been some players on the Nashville Predators that have not, performed to what's expected given their contracts and how much money they're making. I mean, when you look at Ryan Johansen, the offense he provided hasn't really been there ever since he came to the team when they traded him for Seth Jones. And he came to Nashville. Seth Jones went to Columbus. And then, same thing with Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg. Those players are just not producing like they're expected to. And then now, obviously, their blue line is just fantastic. Just looking at them on paper, and even last year they just weren't as good as they've been in the past. And then obviously in net, it looks like UC Saros is going to take over for the background or for the starting job instead of being the backup. And I think Pecorine is going to start taking less and less and less games. This may be like a 1A, 1B kind of situation, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. So what that means is that those 4 teams that I listed are not making the playoffs according to my predictions. Okay. Now, at 4, I've actually got the Dallas Stars. And I know I'm a huge Dallas Stars fan and everything, but there are a lot of questions when it comes to this team and what's expected from them. So a lot of the people in the media don't seem to have the Stars up there. I at least have them making the playoffs. But my biggest questions are Tyler Seguin and Ben Bishop. Who's our number 1 center? Is it Foxa? Is it Hintz? Is it Pavelski? Pavelski is 36. I don't think he can be a number 1 center. So I guess that falls to Rope Hintz, but we'll see. And it's just there's too many questions with their forward group and with their goaltending with Bishop out. If Bishop was in, I would not worry about their goaltending whatsoever. But they've got Hudobin, who really had a great playoff run, but he's never really been proven as a number 1 starter. And I guess we'll find out this season, won't we? And then their backup goaltender Ottinger is just not. He's not proven yet. In the games that he played in the return to play, he looked okay, but he didn't look great. He looked okay, and I don't know. It's just a question. I have no idea how it's going to go. And then obviously their blue line is fine. Their defensemen. When you've got Miro Heiskanen and John Kleinberg, and they're not playing with each other. They're playing separate on separate pairs. One of those guys is always going to be out on the ice at all times, and that's just absolutely fantastic to have that option if you're Rick Bowness. So I've got the Stars at 4 just because of the questions in their forward depth and their goaltending depth. So we'll have to see. So that means at number 3, who did I put up here? Blue Jackets. Okay, and that might actually surprise some people with me putting the Stars below the Blue Jackets, but I love the way that the Blue Jackets play. I don't like John Tortorella. I don't like him, but you can't argue that he doesn't get the best out of a team. He does. He gets the absolute best out of the team, given what he's got. Now there's the whole rumors about Pierre-Luc Dubois wanting out of Columbus, and there's all these players that have left Columbus. But regardless of how that is, he is a number 1 center. He's with Columbus right now, so I'm just gonna pretend that he's gonna be there. They've got decent forward depth for their team. And then when you've got Seth Jones and Zach Werenski, that's just not fair. The 2 absolute fantastic defensemen. And then everybody thought that with Bobrovsky leaving Columbus that there was going to be a big issue in net. And Korpisalo said absolutely not. And so did Merzlikins. They both absolutely performed for this team. So that's why I've got them ahead of the Stars, because right now with the depth of Columbus, their goaltending depth is better than the Stars, and then their forward depth, I feel like, is better than the Stars right now. They've got more players that can score more goals. So I've got Columbus at 3. So at number 2, what that means is I've got the Hurricanes. So Carolina, I love Carolina. Carolina and Dallas on Twitter seem to have a bromance going on. But everything about this team is really fantastic, except for one thing, and I'll get that to the end. But when you look at their forward depth, Svechnikov, Teravainen, and Aho, that first line is just absolutely freaking scary. And then you got Natchez, who is on his way up, it seems like, along with Gurianov. There was that little NHL, I think it was on Facebook, which player is going to score more, Natchez or Gurianov? Anyway, both of those guys are up and coming. And then you look at their blue line. Their blue line is fantastic. And then Jacob Slavin is one of the most underrated defensemen in the National Hockey League. And then you got Brett Pesce, and then you got Dougie Hamilton, and the list goes on for those guys. And their defensive depth very much rivals the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Dallas Stars. I think Dallas's the defense is better than Columbus's, but I think Carolina's is better than both of theirs. So the only question that I really have about Carolina, and that's with everybody, is their goaltending depth. And I'm really actually surprised that they didn't try and go and do something in the year of the goaltending with all the free agents that were out there. I thought for sure that maybe they'd pull in a guy like Braden Holtby, or maybe they were after Jacob Markstrom. I don't know. But I thought for sure they would pull one of those guys in, because right now who they have is Peter Mrazek and James Reimer. And while both of those guys are pretty decent goaltenders, they're no Carey Price. They're no Ben Bishop. They're no Andrei Vasilevsky. They really need somebody like that to make them a legit 100% cup contender. So I've got the Carolina Hurricanes at number 2, mostly because of their goaltending depth. Otherwise, I'd have them maybe even at number 1. But at number 1, obviously, I've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I know with the recent departure of some other players and everything, and with Kucherov being out, it doesn't matter. You've got Point, you've got Cirelli, you've got Stamkos, and, still you got Alex Killorn and all of these other players who are still on their depth. It's absolutely freaking insane that I want to say Cheveldayoff. I know that's not right. That's Winnipeg. Whoever Brisebois, their GM, was still able to pull all of this together. When you've got Victor Hedman as your number 1 defenseman, that's absolutely fantastic. And then you still got Sergachev as well, who is kind of like a 1B to that. He could be on a number 1 pairing if he was on any other team other than the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then when you got Andrei Vasilevsky, I mean, he's just an absolute monster. So that's the most complete team in this division. I think that they're going to end up first. So that means that in the playoffs, that I've got Tampa Bay playing Dallas in the quarterfinals, and then I've also got Carolina playing Columbus. Now, when you get to the playoffs, it's a lot different. So we'll have to see how those goes. So I'm really excited for this season. Thank you guys again for clicking on this video. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and look for more daily hockey content from this channel. We'll talk to you guys later.